For me, the great thing about routines or those habits is that when they're automatic, it removes the decision fatigue of having to figure out what
hmm
I'm doing next.
Welcome to Purposeful Podcasting. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Krystal. This podcast is meant to share how we and other entrepreneurs bring together purpose and passion to leverage profit in our businesses.
We are shining a light on adventure-loving, purpose-driven, action-minded, authentic, and rebellious entrepreneurs.
Just like us.
So join us as we talk about business and life and everything in between.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Purposeful Podcasting with the Serendipitous Rebel, the podcast for entrepreneurs. So if you are a coach, service provider, consultant, this podcast is for you. And today I'm joined with the other half, the better half of Serendipitous Rebel.
Oh, that's garbage. Garbage, I say.
This is Wendy.
Hello, everybody. Today, I'm actually really excited about what we're going to talk about. It comes from actually a Voxer conversation that Krystal and I had yesterday. Mm-hmm. We like to act upon these ideas as quickly as possible. And what it is the freedom that comes with structure. Maybe I should say, Krystal, can you repeat what you said yesterday before we dig in to all the goodness with this?
So what this came out of was the fact that we were both feeling a little discombobulated because we are out of our routines. It's summertime. There's no routine. Everything's a shit show. The kids are going 6 million different directions here and there. I'm having a hard time finding my footing because I'm not in a routine, which is funny because when you really know Wendy and I, you know that we don't like to be pinned down, and I don't like to be overscheduled, and I don't like people telling me what to do or where to be, although that is why I'm an entrepreneur, but I need the routine still. And I think there's a difference because if we have routine, it gives me the freedom for creativity in other places in my life. And so we really want to talk about routines, how they're different from one, they're very different from being overscheduled and overstructured. I once had somebody try to schedule out my day in a calendar for me, and that irritated the bejesus out of me. And I don't believe it's the same as saying that you should just time block more and whatever, which is probably, there's a lot of value to that, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about routines, what is it we're talking about and why does it matter?
Yes, exactly. And when we were talking about this yesterday, I actually laughed because my coach, Irina Miller, she is an intuitive business coach. And she and I have talked about this quite a bit over the past, actually, the couple of years, in that I do not function unless I have some structure to give me boundaries. Actually, I have a visual that I created for myself of a rushing stream. I'm a kayaker, I'm a rower, and I love water. It's this visual, and there are boulders, and there's also banks. And water flows even faster. It needs the banks. And the banks are the structure. When this came up, I was like, oh, this is such a great topic. It's interesting because I also love about having some structure, having some boundaries, is it clears my mind. And you mentioned this, it clears my mind for creativity, for all the goodness, because I'm not worrying about each little thing. One of the things that I would like to suggest that actually, funny enough, comes out of my session that I had with Irina yesterday, and I wrote down this phrase, we become our habits.
Oh, say more.
Because habits can define us and make us who we are. Sometimes when I think about structure and boundaries, I think about the creation of habits. You can look at it as a habit. You can look at it as a milestone, not a milestone, a stepping stone or tasks. But I really actually like the use of habits. I'll admit I've been struggling the past couple weeks horribly. I am out of my routine. I'm out of my normal daily life, and I'm away from my daily habits. Where can I fit them in? Where can I fit them in? And I'm exerting a tremendous amount of energy and thought because I'm out of balance. I'm just all over the place. And that's because I'm playing chauffeur this summer.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, like, a habit, for example, I have a habit, and it is scheduled. My habit is that I exercise in the morning. It could be anywhere from 7 to noon are the times that I typically exercise. My schedule, my routine, my habits are so off kilter that it actually is impacting my productivity for work. Because I think about it, we were both saying, oh my God, we're so tired. And all of a sudden it really hit me. It's because I'm so worried about, am I going to be able to row tomorrow? Because now I have to drive back up to watch, and I'm not complaining about any of this. I think it's just a perspective of the importance of structure. Part of that structure is finding those habits that make who we are. And I just think that's so powerful.
For me, the great thing about routines or those habits is that when they're automatic, it removes the decision fatigue of having to figure out what I'm doing next.
Yes.
Because I know when I'm in a routine and my kids are at school and I don't have chaotic major life events and major surgeries happening in the background, and I can have an established routine, I tend to know on Mondays I do this for work, on Tuesdays I do this, on Wednesdays I do this. I have a set routine for the week. I know kind of the motions that I'm going to go through. I know I'm going to get up. I know what time I'm going to shower, things like that. And as silly as it sounds, not knowing when I'm going to shower next in the summertime because my schedule is flip-flopped and all over the place. It's just one more thing that my brain is constantly think about that's taking up space in my head unnecessarily, that is making it hard for me to focus on the other million things that I need to do. Whereas if I can have some routine and some structure in my day, it just takes away that decision fatigue. When you were talking, I thought about James Clear, Atomic Habits. Every action you take is a vote for the person you wish to become. And in the past, Wendy used to do a micro habit challenge where she would, ask you to kind of set up, like, your habits are basically setting up your routines. Like you said, it's the choices. These are things that I want to habitually, routinely, consistently do in my life and in my business, most of the time for improvement and a lot of times just for convenience and structure. But it really kind of comes to mind of just how important all those things are and how intentional we need to be about our days and our time.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. It's interesting that the micro challenge was a half hour every day doing really a repetitive activity. If taking a shower allows you 30 minutes, a 30-minute shower, oh my gosh, of creativity or of real something about the water and meditation or something like that, that would be such an amazing thing. I walked my dog 30 minutes every day. And might have been, the timing might not have been perfect, but that actually started at the beginning of the pandemic. That actually was the motivation behind creating the Savor Guide. Creating, how do you create the life that you want? What are the steps you take? It was also instrumental in creating the Because I Can Summit. There's so much there, so much goodness. And I know that you use your alone time. I want to start taking half-hour showers. Sorry.
Well,
sounds so fantastic.
Doesn't that sound amazing? I remember doing your challenge, and I'm trying to remember because it has been a really long time and a lot of life has happened.
Yes. Was yours reading?
I think it was reading. That's what I kept coming back to. I'm amazed
Yeah.
you remember that and I can't, or I'm not amazed
Read,
by
yeah.
that, but yeah.
Yeah. I think it was reading every day. And reading, I think it was reading for pleasure. So
Yep.
it was
It couldn't be a business book.
right. Oh, and I remember thinking I need to do that too. What I love about creating habits. So first of all, you're doing things that help you to create the structure.
Hmm.
It's like I know in the morning my feet have to hit the ground. At some point during the wake up phase, I have to touch my toes.
Hmm.
That grounds me, works out a kink or two, and then I can do whatever business I need to do first thing in the morning.
Hmm.
And I will feel off if I don't do that one thing. And sometimes I get it because I'm running to, a Pilates. If I do Pilates, it's covered, but it's interesting how they work. And what I also come back to is that as certified rebels that we are, we have one of the most powerful habits. We vox in the morning.
Yeah, I was thinking about that
Um,
when you were talking about your touching your toes. Mine is to grab a
yeah.
cup of coffee, go on my back porch, and because Wendy's in a time zone ahead of me, she's an hour ahead. I usually wake up to Voxer messages from her, and it's a great
Uh-huh.
way for me, weirdly enough, to decompress into her messages. It gets my brain warmed up for the day, and then I answer a few of them, or I make a couple of notes on my note section on my phone of what I will box
Mm-hmm.
back to her later on. Then I go in, I take care of my kids, I take care of the day, and then I come home and I know exactly what direction I'm going work wise with us because we've already communicated back and forth in the day and then set the structure. Routine doesn't have to be this massive undertaking or this massive thing. I think what we're trying to get to here is that routine is something as simple as just doing something in a predictable order that
Mm-hmm.
signifies to your mind, hey, this is the next thing that we're doing. And it just gets you right in that right headspace and that right mindset to tackle whatever it is that you need to do.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's funny what you just said. One of the things I struggle with is where do I put my notes?
Hmm.
Where I'm a huge good notes person, which is writing on my iPad. I'm using you as an example. I need to use notes more.
Hmm.
And so I don't lose because then again, it's exerting so much energy. Yeah, I really do love this whole topic. What power can we put in both our freedom and structure? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because like I said, I think it's like it started out with that. It's just like, don't put me in a box, right? And when I
Yeah.
would tell even our clients, like, really, we need to establish like a routine for the week. I think that people cringe with that idea because I think there's a lot of people out there who like really stress very structured calendars, time blocking from 12:15 to 1 o'clock. We blog on this particular topic, and from 1 to 1:20 you get a glass of water or something. I don't know. But I think that would just drive me absolutely batshit crazy. But if we know, generally speaking, routinely, we record podcasts on Wednesdays, we meet with our clients on Thursdays. I know that I tend to set up a lot of our blog work for the next week on Wednesday mornings. I tend to, again, it's just this routine and this habit of knowing before I even open up my laptop what I tend to do on that day of the week or what I'm not doing. Because sometimes it was enough to know, like this summer, Mondays, I'm not really working a whole lot. And so, aside from a fire that needed to be put out via our business manager getting hacked this month, I don't feel the pull to have to go open my laptop because I know that's just not part of the routine for the day.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's something very freeing about knowing those boundaries as well.
I could not agree more. I am a huge proponent of like the Pomodoro method, where you work on something
Mhm.
for a specific amount of time and you stay focused on that for a specific amount of time. My issue has always been, just as you said, getting it into the calendar and really sort of it's like being stuck. I'm absolutely positively stuck. It is so counterproductive for how I function. It's like I'm really good when it comes to, okay, I know that I have to get this done. I'm going to use the Pomodoro method for, whatever the time amount allotted. And I do it, but not when it's this. It's the pre-scheduling. Ugh.
So I think what we would like to know from you guys is, what do routines look like in your world? And what routines do you have set up in your space that signify, hey, it's time to maybe do my marketing Monday? Or do you have a routine when you set up work for a client? I really would like to know how you've set up your routines in your world.
Yes, I want to know that too.
All right, guys. Well, until next week, thanks for joining us. We'll circle back next week when we get through the routine of our podcast recording. And until then, bye.
See you later. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about purposeful podcasting on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.